Hi, folks. Yours truly. I had a milestone today, a credit rating of 802. Unthinkable. My credit rating was dismal for decades. And, people are going to say Dave Ramsey says this. There's a lot of valuable stuff you can learn from Dave Ramsey. But the absolutes, if you want to build your credit, you don't have good credit. It's kind of like a card shark in Vegas. You got to game the system, except it's not that hard. You go to Credit Karma, even though that was designed, I think, by the credit card companies to get people to take credit cards. You'll learn that in many respects, it's all about having credit cards and being able to say, you know what, I'm not going to use them. I'll use them just pay for a full tank of gas, then pay off that full tank of gas. When you are able to resist credit cards, that's something huge. And out of all my flaws and mistakes, I saw enough people destroy their lives with credit cards. Let's go on a fancy vacation. Plus the unspeakable crime of putting credit cards onto college campuses where students weren't making money yet. All they had was debt and their parents' money to keep them afloat. So let's talk about 802. Number one, two big banks were a part of my story early on. The folks over at Bank One, the current Chase, I had a loan and on a truck, and I got behind. I had my pay cut in half. So they told me I had until June 1st to catch up. May 26th, on my birthday, they took my truck. And I tried to get it back, and I talked to one guy I knew at Bank One. He said, just catch up and pay the repo fee. And this guy, Mr. Manning, over at Bank One, hope he had a miserable life. He loved to hassle me at work, and he said, you'll have to pay off the entire loan. Now, who is going to give a 21-year-old a loan for the entire amount? No one. No collateral, of course, not at that age. So that came after I had a student loan. Parents moved out of state. I couldn't get a loan, couldn't get a state grant. I was locked out of state financial aid for a year or two. So I decided, well, I'll give radio a try for a year and then probably go back to SIU Carbondale. Small town savings and loan thought it would be stupid to start repayment. So we verbally put it off 4 or 5 months. And if I couldn't get to Carbondale that fall, couldn't get the financial aid, then I'd start repayment. Well, a Chicago bank bought the loan and called me at work constantly. Here I am, 21, really trying to adjust to having the responsibility of a full-time job for the first time. And I don't think the Credit Collection Practices Act was on the books yet. But that law, if it was in place then, they violated it 1,000 times. And when it came time, to find a way to pay, I was going to take the tax return and catch up, even though I absolutely saw no reason why I had to. There were no late fees assessed. There was a clear record of a verbal agreement, which doesn't have legal standing, but regardless. So I said, well, I'll get you paid up in 4 to 6 weeks, but I'll probably be going off to school and we'll have to stop. Well, I think they saw that as, well, let's get our money now. I didn't see it that way as a quick collect. That's exactly what they did to me. 4 to 6 weeks, 8 days later, I got a default notice from the state. And the default, did the state care? Nope. We're just going to get the paperwork through and be done with it. That's the path of least resistance. Once again, should have had an attorney. And that set up a higher interest rate on the truck. So I'm telling this in non-sequential order. So in my 20s, you sat there and thought, well, gee, am I going to drag a girl down when I was with someone where I thought, don't want to spend the rest of my life with them? Well, I got terrible credit. I'm going to destroy their life. That's what it does. And for years, I was just defeatist. I do dumb stuff like, back when you go to games and they always had the tents, sign up for this credit card and get a gift. Well, my credit's destroyed. I'm going to get another. I'm going to get another stupid NFL bag. And that's what I used to put on my CDs in when I tried to be a DJ. Dumb, 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 dumb. You know, no matter how long it takes, you got to fight. And, you know, I'm not even really getting everything done that I need to get done. I mean, I need to have more discipline. I need to get rid of some of these streaming services and things I just hardly use. So that's a failure. I got to get that done. Need more discipline. But the one thing I have done is I've become an aggressive payer. I mean, you know, I'm just like a sniper out there, out in the woods. I'm paying the bill before you can blink. That's the bottom line. Got to be aggressive. Online bill pay certainly helps with that. But I got credit cards, and I keep getting more credit cards. I keep upping the credit limit. And, you know, I use the credit cards like if I want to rent a car, pay it back right away. And, you know, I don't know. I might have been below 600 at one point. And then, I'll tell you what, it is such a high when you see that graph. 600, 630, 650, 675, 700. Wow, can I get above that? 720. Boom, boom, boom. And even with a couple of setbacks. And, you know, you got to protect your credit too from those people. You know, I've had two people do those bogus student loans in my name. You just don't get get down. You don't quit. You just keep pushing, and you fight to protect your credit. And I'll tell you, in these times, especially for the kids out there with the big student loan debt, there's no wiggle room like probably the wiggle room I had. You got to fight for your credit right out of the starting gate. And if you want to own a home, you got to get it good and keep it good. So having bad credit is like taking a giant pay cut. You know, do I want to overshare all this stuff? No. But with my mistakes and the things that were done to me at the same time, I would just love for one person to change their life at a good age. And verbal agreements, never trust them. Don't ever make a verbal agreement with the big banks. And personally, I say go with the community banks. They actually help you. Like if you got a check or your account's in the red, they call you, as opposed to like a certain bank having a computer program where they hold your deposit for days and don't let your full deposit go into the bank. And then they arrange, let's see here. We're going to push through this most expensive check, or before we let the deposit flow in. And what we're going to do is, you know how it is. You get some online bills. If you do that auto pay, which I don't do auto pay, if you get something that comes through and there's a mistake or you make a mistake, the computer program, as I saw, would push a bunch of small debits and checks through instead of that, and instead of just saying, you know what, we're going to push the big one out. It's no accident. They want those overdraft fees. They go into the poor communities and hey, have a gift card. I mean, they go in there intentionally thinking, oh, these people don't have the means. We're going to make money hand over fist off overdrafts. Fight the good fight, folks. You never know where you'll land.